Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little bit of diagnostics on this truck here. The other day I noticed whenever we were hauling some stone that the check engine light came on and we had a very high IPR reading and a very low ICP reading. So my first inclination was the high pressure oil pump is failing. However, it would start cold and it would start hot. So usually a high pressure oil pump failure usually designates an issue whenever the pump gets hot. It won't make pressure and therefore it won't start when the truck's hot. So, okay, well that makes sense, but it started. So I was kind of racking my brain. I kind of thought that it was the high pressure oil pump. So I reached out to some guys and they all told me, hey, check your fuel pressure. Now, I'm going to show you the readings we had before I put the fuel pressure sensor in. I have a little video of it. It's kind of shaky. It's not real good, but I'm going to show that to you now. So you can see why I would think that the high pressure oil pump was the issue. You can see that the duty cycle was completely maxed out, which would be 50 to 55 on an IPR. So duty cycle always takes the percentage times 2. So if you have a 50% duty cycle, the injector pressure regulator is open 100%. It is open all of the as far as it'll go. Now, naturally, you don't want to see that ever. Usually when you start getting into the 30s, the high 30s, the low 40s, you know that you're maxing out your high pressure oil pump and that you need to do either a dual pump or a larger pump. So I reached out, a couple guys told me, check your fuel pressure. Now I did an e-fuel system on this truck back when I put it together, and I don't think I've ever changed the fuel filters in it because it pretty much never gets driven. It's probably gotten 3,000 miles put on it since I've put it together. But that's been over the course of maybe 4 years or so. And decided to put the fuel pressure sensor in. Now, luckily, we have the CTS3 monitor in this. The monitor is really great because it's compact little design. But all the accessories for it are extremely expensive, which sucks. But you can add as many things as you want to it, which is why it's very nice. So I had a pressure sensor, which I was going to use for the boost on this, and took it out, put it in the fuel pressure regulator. I'll show you where I did that as well. And we checked fuel pressure. So I'm going to show you where we put the fuel pressure sensor on the regulator here, and then I'll show you the screen we had for the fuel pressure. So this is just extremely temporary wiring. So we just took the manual gauge out of the front of the regulator here and put the sensor right in there. Just ran the wires over and just kept them out of the fan and out of the belt, and they all run into a mess of wires over here that I haven't cleaned up yet. But that's where the sensor would go if you have an e-fuel system. It goes right in the front of the regulator like that. If you still want to have a manual gauge, you could put a T in there if you wanted to. It's 1/8 inch NPT, and you could run a T off of that with a sensor and also a gauge. As you can see, the fuel pressure is set at 61.84. I think I have it set at 60 for this truck whenever I was using the manual gauge. And I'll show you whatever our fuel pressure turned into here once we started driving the truck. And you'll really see the issue that really reared its ugly head. So having a monitor like this is extremely helpful. So this e-fuel setup on this truck, I mounted my filters here. I did it this way because I figured that with it being a regular cab and having the tank right here, there's not a real good place to put these filters. So I put them here. All I have to do is put the bed up, and obviously we have the bed propped here so that we don't have any issues. But the filters are here. They're easy to get to. You don't have to crawl underneath the truck. You get right to them. So pulled these old filters off, put new filters on, so you can see the new filters right now. And the old filters that came off, yeah, they don't look real healthy here. I don't know why. I was having some issues with the fuel senders, and I did have the rear tank opened up, and there was some grime in the rear tank that I had cleaned out. I have not inspected the front tank. Seeing all this rust on the inside of these rings, though, that kind of points me towards there might be rust forming in the front tank. So I'm going to have to probably pull the sender out of the front tank and look inside. Thankfully, we are working with a dump truck here, so obviously get right to the fuel sender, which is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and dump these out and show you what was in them. So we have a clean pan here. I'm going to grab our filter. So we're going to start with the water separator. So this is the filter that would be after the main filter. So you can see there's a little bit of grime in the pan there, some little black specks. Now I'm going to get a light and we're going to try to see inside this filter. So this is going to be really hard to see. You can see how rough it is on the bottom of this filter. That's all just crap and corrosion. Not sure where it came from, but this can definitely cause you problems. So that was the water separator here. I'm going to go dump this pan out and we'll get the other one emptied out. But you can see the crap that was in there. So you can actually see some sediment floating around. You can see a little bit of swirling on this side here. So there is definitely some sediment in here, and this will definitely cause you problems. So we got a clean pan again. We're going to get our main fuel filter. So you can see the top of this filter is pretty crappy as well. This fluid, this oil, this fuel, whatever you want to call it, is very cloudy. And we'll see if we can get you to look inside here. You can see way down in there, see how it's crusty, rusty, nasty, very dirty. So like I had said before, you can even see the side of the filter element inside isn't even shiny anymore. So not sure where we were getting water intrusion to get all this rust in here, but definitely is an issue that I need to look into and figure out where it's all coming from. But you can, I'll bring the camera over here and you can look in this. I got to wipe all this fuel off of my hands. So you can see how cloudy that is. There's some chunks in there, but it's really cloudy. You can see all the sediment that's actually in there. So that fuel is definitely not any good. These filters were definitely clogged, and we're going to go ahead and do a run and make sure that these filters actually fixed our issue. So we took it for a spin and everything seems to be okay. So I'll show you the gauges. So as you can see there, we didn't get wide into the throttle. I did a little bit later, and the IPR still demanding a lot of oil. The ICP pressures were, however, good. They were much, much better. They were up into the 2000s range at wide open throttle, which is pretty good. The IPR, like I said, still a little bit higher than I'd like it to be, but the truck's back to running normal. It's not underpowered. We had zero loss of fuel pressure at all times. Stayed right at that 61, 62 PSI, which is where we had it set at. So, you know, you got a truck with e-fuel on it and you're running into lack of power randomly, or, you know, you're getting no smoke out the tailpipe, but you have no power, even though you put your foot to the floor, you're getting a check engine light. Could set a check engine light saying that, you know, you're not getting a good enough oil supply. So be like P1280, which is high-low ICP or ICP out of range. So what you get is you say it points you to the high pressure oil pump, which is what my initial thought was on this truck, was that the high pressure oil pump was failing me. Turned out that the fuel filters were just completely trashed. And like I said, those filters were old. They didn't have a lot of miles on them, but lots of sitting around. Obviously they got water in them somewhere from some place. Could be from the tank. I get my fuel from all the same places. It's the only truck that has ever had rusty filters like that. So not real sure where the water came from. But you know, as of right now, this truck is fixed. So hopefully we can get back to hauling some more stuff, and hopefully we don't have any more problems. But if you're running into an issue where, you know, your information, your data logging, your gauges, whatever you want to call it, your monitor, showing you a high IPR and a low ICP, your first initial thought is high pressure oil pump. And here it turned out to be that we just had clogged fuel filters. So something simple, very easy to fix, very inexpensive. You know, a high pressure oil pump is going to run you north of $600 right now, depending on which one you get. So, I mean, it was worth it to try to check out the fuel filters first, because that's the cheapest, easiest fix, and they hadn't been changed in a long time, so they needed to be changed anyway. The only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the bed back up eventually here, write down on them the date I put them on with the miles on them. That way we don't have to ever be concerned on when did I change them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. But that's it for this video this time. Just wanted to show you a little bit of diagnostics you can do on your 7.3 with e-fuel. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll try to keep these videos coming for you guys. So please subscribe to the channel and check out my videos. Thanks for watching again. Appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.